Hello everybody, welcome back to Firefield Junction and welcome back to another video for you. In today's video I'm going to be doing a bit of a Meet the Fleet for you. I've been considering doing a video like this for a while and I might end up doing some more after this, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I've been thinking about doing one for a while, so I thought it would be nice to sort of bring one to you. Hopefully you'll find it interesting, hopefully you enjoy it. And if you do enjoy these Meet the Fleet style videos, then feel free to let me know down in the comments below. And if you do enjoy them, then I'll look at doing some more. But in today's video, we're going to be focusing on the rail freight sector locos that are in the collection. I thought that had to be a good place to start, considering I've got quite a few of them. So without wasting any more time, let's jump into the video and get on to our first locomotive. Okay, so the first loco is just making its way into shot now. There she is. So we'll slowly bring her to a stop. There we go. Bring her to a stop. There we are. So the first loco that we've got here, this is a Hornby Class 60, and this is in the rail freight coal sector livery. This particular loco is number 60090, and it's named, I think it's Quinag, something like that. I do apologise if I've pronounced that wrong. But yeah, this is, I think this might have been the first rail freight sector 60 that I actually got from Hornby. I've had it for a little while now, I can't remember how long it has been. But she served me very well. I haven't really had any issues with this loco. She's fitted with a lock sound V5 decoder with the, I believe it is, which sound is it? I can't actually remember off the top of my head which sound it is. I think it's, no, I think it's the howl sound if I remember correctly. That's actually loaded onto this decoder. Again, I can't quite remember. I think it is that one though, because the decoder that's actually in this loco, I didn't actually buy on its own. It actually just came with another loco that I don't have anymore, and it's ended up going in this particular loco, and so that's the story behind that. But yeah, overall it's a very nice model. The Hornby Class 60 is a very nice model overall. Definitely I think one of the best diesels that they make in my opinion. Despite how old the tooling is for these now, they're still very nice locos. They're very, very heavy. Typical diesel style mechanism, so big motor in the centre, 2 flywheels, and that drives all the wheels. All-wheel pickup as well. We've got some very nice slicing on these locos as well. I believe these newer ones, because this is one of the it's not one of the very latest ones, but it's still, it's not mega old. It's comes in the latest sort of style packaging that we used to, the block of ice packaging. I have done a review on this loco if you're interested, so you can go and check that out if you want to. But I believe that these do have the nighttime setting on the lights as well, via the switch underneath, so you can do that if you want to. But typically I always leave mine as the day setting because that's what I mostly run them as. But yeah, overall, very nice loco. Again, served me very well. Definitely one I would recommend if you're looking for a Class 60 by Hornby. There we go, it took a little bit of a while to stop there. But our next loco on the list, this is a Bachmann Class 37, and this one is in the rail freight general sector livery. It's number 37104. I think this loco is getting a little bit rare now, so getting hold of this particular one might not be the easiest in the world. But I believe it is still around in a few places. I got this loco quite a few years ago now, I think it was, as a Christmas present, which was very nice. This particular loco is the factory sound fitted version as well, so it's factory fitted with a lock sound V5 selector decoder. I've also upgraded the original speaker on it as well. I can't remember exactly which one it is. I think it's one of the bass or mega bass speakers that's fitted to it, but I can't actually remember which one I actually fitted to this loco originally. And I haven't been inside her for a while, so I'm not entirely sure which one is in there. But yeah, it's not the original speaker. It is a better speaker in there, so we get some nice decent sound from her. She doesn't come like this as well when you buy her. I have also weathered this loco myself quite recently, actually. I think I did this one. It's not been that long since I actually did this one, so definitely a fairly recent weathering from me. I've also fitted the buffer beam detailing to one end as well. If I just move it back a bit, hopefully you can see that I fitted a load of the buffer beam detailing to this end as well, just to make it look a bit more realistic. I tend to do this to quite a lot of the 80s or slash 90s fleet that I have. I just think it looks quite nice, and because I'm almost never really going to run these, I think, with any stock. Normally I just run them on their own. I do prefer fitting the detailing to these, and plus it just adds a bit to the locos as well. I do recommend fitting the buff beam detailing to locos if you're thinking about doing it. It really does add something to a loco when you do it. But yeah, overall, it's a very nice loco. Again, never really had any issues with this loco. It's pretty much always ran very well. I think she might have been slightly iffy actually when I first did her, but very, very minor, a nice easy modification that I made. I think it was literally what it was. It's when I fitted these snow plows actually. There's a little bit of a detail that hangs down from the chassis that was catching them on them a bit, and I think that was just making them derail. But trimming that down just sorted that problem, and ever since, she's always served me very well. Again, never really had any issues with her. Definitely overall a very nice loco. So the next loco, we've got another Hornby Class 60 for us, and this particular one is number 60002, Capability Brown, and this particular one is in the Railfreight Petroleum sector livery. This was the most recent addition in terms of the Railfreight subsector 60s that I've got, so this was basically the very latest one that I've added to the collection. And this particular one, I can't remember exactly how long I got it, so it wasn't overly long ago. But it came second-hand from the model centre. I can't remember exactly how much I paid for it. It was a really good bargain though, and it came fitted by a previous owner because it was second-hand, but practically brand new. It came fitted with one of the new Hornby Bluetooth sound decoders. So I've also upgraded the original speaker on that decoder as well to a 20 by 20 by 7 megabass speaker to give a bit more better sound, a bit more bass, and a little bit better quality. And when I bought it, I also decided to get it weathered as well, so I paid for the value weathering from TMT as well, so it's also been nicely weathered by them, and it does look very, very nice. Just like my other Class 60 that I mentioned earlier, again, considering I haven't had it very long, I definitely haven't had any issues with it. Always runs very, very well in the little that I have run it. It's also has the detailing fitted to one end as well. And yeah, overall, again, just like my other Class 60 that I showed, a very nice loco, very, very reliable runner. Obviously, being the Hornby Bluetooth decoder though, the performance is still very good, maybe a tiny bit jerky, but obviously not quite as good as on the lock sound decoders, but still very, very good. The Hornby Bluetooth decoders are very, very good. I think this is the one here, I think this is the third one I've got now. And yeah, overall they are very, very good. I have had one fail on me though before in another loco, which was a bit of a shame, but apart from that, still very good sound decoders in my opinion. I do recommend them. The sound on them is very, very good. Most of the sound files that I have tried have been very, very good. In some cases, even better than on some of the more expensive decoders as well. But yeah, overall, very good loco. I definitely recommend it if you want one. Yeah, really, really can't fault it. Next up, we have another Bachmann Class 37 for us, but this is the original 8-pin tooling Class 37. So when Bachmann started doing Class 37s, this was the original tooling that they used. So on this particular loco, unlike on the other 37 that I showed you earlier, this particular loco does not pick up from every single wheel. The very inner wheels, so the very inner axles here and here, don't have pickups on them. And these particular locos also don't have tail lights either. They only have headlights inside. And also, I suppose another difference as well is on the other ones, they have a 21-pin DCC socket. These locos are 8-pin DCC ready, so they are a little bit older and a little bit more outdated, but again, that's what you'd expect. This particular one, as we can see, is in the Railfreight distribution sector livery. I think I got this one, I can't actually remember what the shop was called. It was online somewhere, but it was a shop that I don't normally buy from. I've bought a few bits from them here and there. I can't actually remember exactly what they were. I think it's like the Diesel Works or something like that. I could be wrong, but I think it was something like that, so I bought them from second-hand, obviously. I can't remember how much the loco was. I think it might have been somewhere from between 60 and 70 quid. Again, I'm not too sure. But this particular loco, it came weathered as well. Well, I haven't weathered it. It did come like this when I bought it, so this was obviously done by a previous owner. It's had some of the detailing fitted to one end as well. And it's also fitted with a lock sound V5 decoder with a EM1 speaker in the fuel tanks as well, which I did all myself. However, at the moment, there's a little bit of a weird story with this loco. Originally, when I sound fitted this, I did the Hornby TTS sound with the EM1 in the fuel tanks, and then I also had a little sugar cube on top as well. just so that then the overall resistance was 12 ohms. I won't go fully into it, but basically you can't use if you were to use an EM1 speaker on its own with a TTS decoder, it would blow the decoder. So that's that, but I won't go fully into all the science behind it. But eventually I decided, you know what, I want to put a better sound decoder in here, and at some point I'll do a stay live as well. And what I ended up doing is an old Bachmann class 158 that I had, and I ended up having sound and that and everything. I ended up selling that on, and the decoder from that 158 has gone into this loco, but I still need to actually re-blow the sound file on the decoder. So at the moment this loco still has the class 158 sound file on it, so when I run it, well, it's basically never, because I don't really have any reason to at the moment, it still has the class 158 sound file on it, so I don't actually run it with the sound on. And also because the settings on that decoder are sort of more set up for the motor in the 158, this loco does actually run quite jerky at low speed. It's not really that great of a runner at the low speed. So at some point in the near future, hopefully I'll get the decoder in this reblown with the correct sound file. I'll get a stair light fitted as well, because these older Bachmann 57s not having as many pickups, even though they do have quite a lot of pickups on them, they still aren't always the most reliable runners. And yeah, this loco is quite prone to actually cutting out sometimes. But adding a stair light to the decoder will solve that. So once she's all fully done and all set up with the correct sound file and a stair light and everything and all programmed properly, hopefully she should be a much better loco. But even still as she is, they're still quite nice, these older Bachmann 37s. Obviously, whilst feature-wise they're not as good as the latest ones, or even the likes of Vicura scale and stuff like that, they're still not too bad. You can get them for very good prices as well. So overall, still a very nice loco. Obviously not the best in the world, but still decent, that's for sure. So the next loco in the fleet we have here is a Bachmann Class 20. This is the older style Bachmann Class 20, so it's not the very latest tooling, but it's essentially the previous tooling that they did. And this particular one is just in the general sort of railfreight triple cray without any sort of sectorization logo on it. I'm pretty sure there were the odd few here and there that did carry at some point a sectorization on them. I have seen at least one I think did carry coal sector at some point, but there were some a bit like this one. This particular one is 20088. That just didn't carry a sectorization logo at any point. They might have done at some point, but certainly with what this particular loco is, basically the condition it's modelled in, it didn't have a sectorization logo on the side. And this particular loco, I believe, is part of a train set, originally anyway. I think Bachmann are redoing this loco, I believe, in their latest touring on its own. But this particular one, the older one, I believe it was the permanent way train set, something like that. That it came part of. But this particular loco I managed to buy on its own from Hatton's, I believe it was, when they were open. I believe I paid about, I think it was somewhere around, I don't think it was 150 quid, I think it was a bit less than that. I think it might have been more, 140 quid, something like that for it, which wasn't really too bad considering it is a sound fitted loco. This loco was a factory fitted sound model as well. Originally it did have a Lock Sound V4 select in it. However, since me purchasing it, unfortunately the original decoder I had in this loco unfortunately failed for whatever reason. It was a really weird failure. It's not like it actually blew, but one of the components on it sort of went wrong, so it's basically stopped responding to any signals or being able to program it or anything like that. So it was basically almost unusable. So eventually what I did not too long ago is I managed to pick up a second-hand Lock Sound V3.5 decoder off eBay, and that came with the relevant 100 ohm speaker as well. And I ended up fitting that to the loco, so at least then I can still have the sound in it and I can actually use it again. And to be honest, I think the sound file on this older decoder is actually better than the one on the original V4, which is a bit of a bonus, I suppose, in a way. I've also webbed this loco myself as well, so it's all had the underframe done in sleeper grime, and then using various effects. I've done some sort of washing down the side as well, and I've done it quite a filthy condition, as you can probably tell, especially around the front as well. Hopefully you can sort of see that I've done quite a lot of weathering on this one to make it look quite dirty. And yeah, overall I'm quite proud of it. I think it looks very good in my opinion. Obviously your opinion may vary, but overall I'm quite happy with it. So I think it's a very nice loco. I think it looks very good, and overall she runs very well as well. And apart from the decoder issues that I originally had, overall she has served me very well. So overall, yeah, can't really complain. I also do have another Class 20 that I run with her, but that's a BR Blue one. It's also W units, so in a way I do have a pair of sort of 80s, 90s, 20s that I can run together, but they're not both motorised. It's just this one's the motorised one. Then I've got the dummy one as well. Next up, we have another Bachmann Class 37. This is the second generation tooling, if you like. So it was the same tooling as a 37104 that we saw earlier. So 21-pin DCC socket on these, all-wheel pickup, all-wheel drive, and obviously a lot better than the older 8-pin models. But obviously in terms of the details and stuff, not quite as good as the very latest Flux 22 tooling. This particular model is in the railfreight metal sector livery, and it's 37514. This loco is chipped with a 21-pin Bachmann decoder. It was originally sound fitted at some point. I didn't buy it sound fitted, but I did fit it with sound at some point, not too long after I got it. But a short while ago, I ended up getting another loco that I wanted the sound decoder in. So I took the sound decoder out of this one and put a regular decoder in it. I'll probably refit it with sound at some point in the future, but for the moment it will still be perfectly okay for me, just having a normal decoder in it. I've also weathered it myself as well, so again I've done all the underframe and done some streaking down the sides, but not quite as heavy as I did on the Bachmann Class 20. I tend, if I can, to try and keep the 37s a bit more cleaner and look a bit more tidier if I can, but I still want to have some weathering on there just to sort of emphasise use and stuff like that. I've also fitted the detailing to one end as well, so we've got the various hoses and cables and chain link couplings and everything as well on the end to improve that as well. I think I got this loco off eBay. I think I paid about £120 for it. I've had it for quite a while now. It's definitely been probably some in the region of 2 years or something like that I've had this loco for. But overall, just like a lot of my other 37s that I've got, it served me very well. I never really had any issues with it. It's always been a very good runner, very smooth, very consistent. Overall, a very nice loco. So the next loco we have, this is a Bachmann Class 47, and this is the very latest Bachmann Class 47 tooling as well. So it's a Flux 22 DCC socket on this loco, and this is also the factory fitted sound version as well. Not the deluxe version, but just the normal factory sound version. It's 47004, and it's in the rail freight construction sector livery. I bought this loco, I think it was probably just over a year ago now, something like that, from TMC, and I think I paid about, I think it was about £260 I paid for it or something like that, which at the time was a very good deal for these. And I also managed to get free weathering on it as well, so I got free value weathering on the loco as well, which was very, very nice at the time. So she's all had various, I think it's being value weathering, it's quite basic weathering. I mean, it's still very good. She gets some nice airbrush into the underframe. I think a little bit on the buffers as well. And as I said, this is the very latest Class 47 tooling from Bachmann. And overall, very, very good logo, very nicely detailed, very good runner as well. Being the factory fitted sound version, these locos have the sort of standard sound setup that Bachmann do now in some of their diesels. I think the 37 is also the same. So you've got a sugar cube speaker in the loco and also a nice big sort of mega bass speaker as well. So nice dual speaker setup, which most of the time does get some very good sound. I know some people, it can be a little bit hit and miss. Sometimes you can get some echoing from the larger mega bass speaker, which I did have on my 37 actually, that's got the same setup. But on this loco, haven't had any issues with it at all. Literally was just able to basically get it out of the box, get it running, and start using it. And overall, no problems at all. She served me very, very well. Haven't run her for quite a while actually. Well, to be honest, I haven't really run any of these locos recently. But even despite being sat for quite a while, still runs very, very well. Still very smooth. Overall, I can't really fault the loco at all. The latest tooling 47 from Bachmann is a very good model. Probably not the best value in the world, but still very good. Very nicely detailed. Loads of features on them as well, including lots of lighting features. I believe the decoders in these, I think they're lock sound decoders. I can't remember. I know I'm pretty sure in the 37s it's Zimmo decoders that are using those, but I think it's Locksound V5s that they're using in these. So obviously very, very high quality decoders, basically almost as good as you can get, I suppose. And yeah, overall, very good loco. I can't really fault it. Looks very good as well. A really, really nice addition. So our next loco, this is a Hornby Class 56, and this particular one is in the railfreight coal sector livery. It's named Castle Donington Power Station, and it's 56091. This particular loco, I believe, originally is a factory sound model that Hornby did, but I got this particular one, I think it was from Worley 2018. It was 2018, no, it might be 2019 actually, I can't remember, or was it? No, I think it was actually the first year that Worley happened after COVID, so that would have been 2022, I believe. I think that's actually when I got her. And I got her from TMC. I think I paid about 170, 180 pounds for her. But what was very, very cool when I got her, she was also weathered, which has been done very, very well. She also had the sound decoder upgraded from the original factory one. I believe it's to a Locksound V5, I could be wrong. It also had the, has the Howes sound file on it as well. And I've also upgraded the speaker inside to a nice big mega bass speaker as well. It did mean removing the fans inside, so the fans currently aren't inside. So if you look down through the grills, even through the camera, you might be able to see the speaker underneath this rear fan here. But despite that, I think it was worth the effort. I should be able to somehow refit the fans at some point in the future with a little bit of modification. But overall, a very, very nice loco, runs very well. The Hornby 56 is a very nice model, obviously not quite as good as the latest Cavalex versions, but still very, very nice. So it served me very well. I don't think I've really had any issues with this particular loco at all. Always ran very well. She's had all the buff beam detailing fitted to one end as well. I believe that was done by a previous owner as well. But yeah, overall, very nice loco. She sounds really, really good as well whilst running with the sound and the speaker that's inside her. And yeah, overall, a very nice loco. So coming up now, we have the second of my Hornby rail freight subsector 66s, 56s. Let's bring her to a stop. There we are. So this particular one is in the rail freight metal sector livery. It's also named, but I'm not going to try and pronounce the name because it's quite long, and it's also, I think, in Welsh as well. So I'm not going to try pronouncing it. But this particular one is 56032. It's roughly the same age, I think, as the coal sector one, but this one is just more of a general release. It's not a factory sound model. However, this particular one has the exact same sound setup inside as on the coal sector one. So again, a Locksound V5 decoder inside, and it's not exactly the same speaker, but it is a very, very similar nice big mega bass speaker. So again, I've had to do the same thing of taking the fans out inside to get it in. This particular one also I can see is not weathered. This is pretty much as it sort of comes out of the box, if you like. It also hasn't had any of the buff beam detailing fitted yet. I think I have got some spares, so it's something I can do in the future. But overall, despite that, still a very nice loco. Just like on the other 56, I don't think I've really had any issues with this particular loco. I think I got it off eBay a year or two ago now, I can't quite remember. I think I actually had her before the coal sector one, I could be wrong. But still, despite that, still a very nice loco. Again, I'm pretty sure I've had no issues with her. Very nice model overall. Certainly looks very good next to the coal sector one. I think I do need to invest in another one or two 56s for this fleet, because I'm pretty sure these are the only two that I've got for the sort of 80s/90s fleet. So definitely need to get one or two more. But still, a very nice pair of locos. Yeah, really can't fault them, to be honest. Again, the Hornby 56 is a nice model. Obviously not without its sort of issues here and there. I think some people here and there have had issues, I think, with the lighting inside, because of the age of these locos. They've got the older style sort of copper contact style lights on the inside. So you've got the springs that come off the back of the lights, and they contact some pads on the chassis to basically make the lights work. I personally haven't really had any issues with them on these locos, but I know some people have. But yeah, overall, again, all things considered, a very nice loco, a very nice performer. Can't really fault it. So next up, we have the first of my two rail freight sector class 31s. This particular one is 31233, and it is in the rail freight petroleum sector livery. This particular loco is a factory sound model as well. However, I can't fully remember where I got this from. It might have been Hatton's, but I could be wrong. This particular loco has had the decoder upgraded. At the very least, the sound file has been redone, at least anyway. Because the sound file in here is definitely not the original factory sound file, but it is still a log sound v3.5 decoder. So I'm not too sure what the new sound file actually is, but it's still a very good one. It's the logo certainly sounds very, very nice as it runs along. This logo hasn't been without its issues though. I have had a couple of issues here and there of trying to get this logo to actually run very well. I think it is maybe just down to age. I find that sometimes the motor in this logo can be very noisy. So even the mechanism sometimes can be a little bit noisy. I'd tell you, if she's been sat for a while, like she has been now before me putting her on the track now, the motor can be quite noisy when first on the get-go essentially. But after quite a bit of running in, sort of almost with every single running session I do with her, she does seem to quieten down a bit and get a bit smoother. So certainly standing around not being used doesn't do this particular loco any justice, I think, really. But apart from that, it is still a very nice loco. The Hornby Class 31 is certainly a nice model. This is the original sort of style 31 that Hornby did. I think with the latest, I haven't actually got one of the very, very latest 31s they did. I did used to, but not anymore. These obviously had the working fan inside that a lot of the original Hornby diesels had, that was done via the elastic band off the flywheel sort of mechanism, and that then drives the fan. As I do with every single loco I get from Hornby that had or has, I suppose, this particular mechanism fitted, I always disconnect the working fan because personally for me, I don't think it really adds too much to the model. Whilst it does look quite nice, obviously once you've got the loco going at quite some speed, the fans do spin way faster than they should, and if the fan mechanism starts to jam up, it can put quite a lot of stress on the motor. So I always disconnect it just to aid the loco in performing a little bit better, and also so that the motor overall would last longer as well, because it's not being put under as much strain as it normally would. But yeah, overall it's a very nice loco. Obviously, again, as I said, not without its issues, but still a very nice model. I fitted the buff beam detailing to the front as well, and I think I've put a few details on the other end as well. I'm not too sure. If it's not on this one, it might be on one of my other 31s. But yeah, overall, a very nice loco. Got quite a few lighting features on it as well. Yeah, overall, very nice loco. Not without its issues, but again, I'm pretty sure they're more age-related, really. Certainly a worthy investment. I don't think these sound-fitted 31s are the easiest to come by, but they do come up every now and then. Certainly worth investing in, I think, if you're interested in one. Yeah, overall, a very nice loco. There you can see there a bit of a jolly start from her, where she's been sat for a while. So coming in now, we have the second of my rail freight subsector 31s. This was actually one of the most recent additions to the collection, actually. Literally only in the past few days I've actually got this loco sort of all set up and going for me. So this particular one, as we can see, this is in the rail freight construction sector livery, and it's 31296. This particular one is literally a sort of bog standard release, more and sort of runs. I think it's probably a similar age as the other one, but obviously it's not sound fitted. And this particular one is fitted. I've temporarily put in. I'll probably put a better decoder in the future, but at the moment it's got a 8-pin not lock sound, 8-pin gauge master decoder inside. Not a decoder brand that I really tend to use because past experience with some of their other decoders, and more their Ruby ones, I found that the performance on those is pretty rubbish, to be honest. But with whichever one is in here, it's probably just more of a standard one, and the performance does seem to be very, very good. Unfortunately, I haven't had the best start with this loco, but again, I think just like on the other 31, it's more the issues with this one have been more age related. This particular one came second hand from Rails of Sheffield. I believe I paid £99.50 for it. Despite being second hand, the loco was box fresh. It was literally factory, well, literally from the factory as it was. So the loco, despite being about 15 years old, she had literally been sat in her box all that time. She hadn't even been taken out of the box or even ever ran. So because she had been sat for so long, quite a lot of, I think, the lubricants inside had sort of dried up and sort of essentially gone away. So she was, well, she did run very well and she was quite smooth. She was quite noisy. The motor was quite noisy. The worm gear bearings, because the worm gears have bearings on them, so well, it helps them run a bit smoother, and obviously lowers the resistance and stuff. Those tend to have oil on them. Those were dry, so those were squeaking quite badly. So she did have to have quite a bit of sort of major service and TLC to actually get her running, as you'd expect, and certainly has been worth it. She's now running very, very well, and much more quiet, much more smoothly. I've also fitted the buffer beam detailing to one end as well. So yeah, she's certainly been a little bit eventful adding this loco to the collection. But now that she's all done and put all the effort in, she is now a very nice addition to the fleet, and really can't fault her now that she's all been done. And hopefully she'll give me many hours of useful service. So next up we have another Bachmann class 37. I believe it is just 37s that we've got left now, but there's not too many more of them, so we'll hopefully try and get through them quite quickly. But this particular one is 37428, David Lloyd George, and it is in the railfreight Petroleum section livery. And this particular one, I believe this was the very latest sort of railfreight sector 37 to add to the collection, actually. Because I do actually have a railfreight. I do have a class 37 now in every railfreight subsector livery. So I've got 6 37s carrying a different railfreight subsector livery, which I think is quite nice in my opinion. Yeah, but as I said, this particular one is in the railfreight Petroleum sector livery. This particular 37, it's the sort of standard older Bachmann 37, so 21 pin tooling and the usual sort of pickup and drive mechanism. It also has the buffer beam detailing fitted to one as well, and she's fitted with a 21 pin Bachmann decoder. Haven't done any sort of sound fitting on this yet at all or anything like that. Again, it will hopefully receive it in the future at some point, but again, whether that'll be, I'm not too sure. I've also weathered it myself as well. I've tried to go for a sort of a more sort of clean sort of weathering with this. So I've done sort of the usual dirt and dust and stuff on the underframe with the super grime. But then the sort of streaking and stuff down the sides, I've tried to leave that sort of quite clean. I haven't done too much on that, just to sort of give a bit of variation in the weathering between locos. So I don't really want all of them looking the same. Obviously, almost every loco is different, so you don't want to go sort of weathering them exactly the same sort of tones. You want to go for a sort of little bit different here and there. I believe I paid about, I can't remember how much it was. It was off eBay. But I think it was probably somewhere in the region of 110 to 120 quid, which certainly isn't too bad, I think, for these. The railfreight Petroleum sector 37s don't seem to be the most common subsector delivery to come up online. When they do, they can be sort of more sort of 160 quid or something like that. So I think I got, so yeah, certainly got, I think, quite a good deal on that, so it wasn't too bad. And yeah, overall, haven't had any issues at all with this loco. It's served me very well so far. Very, very smooth and very consistent runner. Certainly can't fault it, which is, as usual, I think, from the Bachmann 37s. They always seem to serve you quite well. I certainly haven't had any major issues with any of mine. I've got quite a lot of them, so definitely a very robust loco. Definitely recommend them. So this is the second to last of the Class 37s. This particular one, as we can see, this is the railfreight coal sector livery, and this particular one is 37693. So William Arrell, I believe the name is. Yes, it is. I think this is a factory release. I'm not too sure. It looks like it has been renumbered and renamed, so you might not be able to buy this one off the shelf as it is. But it's this particular loco. I think I got it. I think it was off eBay. I bought it from. I could be wrong, but I believe I paid about £200 or something like that for it. Because it is fitted with a Locksound V5 decoder. Pretty sure it is. With the Lego Man Biffo sound, and it's also got a 25 by 25 by 7 mega bass speaker in it. So you get some very, very good sound from this loco. It's also been weathered as well, not by me. It did come weathered like this by a previous owner, and overall I don't think it's been done too badly. You have to probably knock some of the dust on it. I think she's a bit dirty, so probably need to give her a bit of a clean soon. And I believe the buff beam details had already been fitted by a previous owner as well. So this loco, pretty much as you see it, is how it came. I don't think I really have done anything to it since I got it, other than basically programming it and getting it set up to how I want it. But overall, yeah, it's certainly a very good loco. I believe this was probably, this particular loco was sort of right around the start of when Bachmann started doing 21 pin 37s, because it doesn't come in the sort of more modern style sort of plastic clamshell packaging that we're used to, like the block of ice packaging. This did come in the older polystyrene packaging, and so yeah, I'm pretty sure this was right around the start of when Bachmann was sort of switching over to the 21 pin tooling from the 8 pin one. But despite the age of the loco, very, very good runner. Haven't really had any issues with this loco at all. Definitely, I think one of the more reliable 37s compared to the other ones in the sort of 80s, 90s fleets that I've got. But yeah, overall, a very good loco. Again, sounds very, very good. Very smooth running as well. Overall, can't really fault it. So approaching now, we've got the very last loco of the video, and as you probably guessed, it's another Class 37. So if we just bring her to a stop, there we go. So this particular one, as we can see, is in the railfreight construction sector livery, and it's 37425, so Robert McFarlane or Concrete Bob on the other side. Obviously this particular loco is still going in real life today in regional railways. Her future, I suppose, is, well, I believe she is still going. I can't remember exactly who she's owned by. I can't remember if it's HNRC or Colas Rail. I think she's owned by HNRC, but currently on lease to Colas Rail. She does seem to be doing test trains quite a bit at the moment. But she unfortunately doesn't have the nameplates anymore, but at least she's still going, which is the main thing. This particular loco is a Rails of Sheffield exclusive when it was released, but I managed to get this one from the Severn Valley Railway Spring Diesel Gala earlier this year from a stand there, and I believe I paid only £110 for her, which I think, considering she's an exclusive, is not too bad. And also she is weathered as well, as we can see, and that's how she came as well. Yeah, so certainly quite a good bargain there, I think, for a loco like this. She's also been fitted by myself with the new Hornby Bluetooth HM7000 sound decoders as well. So there's a 21 pin version, one of those inside. And this is actually the loco that I actually had the decoder fail on. When I originally fitted sound to this, the original decoder actually failed almost straight away, which is a bit annoying. But luckily Hornby were quite helpful and they sent me a replacement decoder, and that's all been fine since, which is very, very good. I've also upgraded the speaker inside as well to a 20 by 20 by 7 mega bass as well, which is definitely, I think, one of the best upgrades that you can use speaker-wise on these new decoders. And the sound file as well is also very, very nice. It's a very good sound file that Hornby have done for the 37 on here, so definitely recommend that. I've also fitted the buff beam detailing to one side, to one end as well, and that's certainly makes the loco look a lot better. And yeah, apart from the issue with the decoder that I originally fitted, in terms of the loco itself, no issues whatsoever. Been very, very reliable the entire time I've had it so far. Definitely, I think, probably one of the nicest 37s in the fleet as well, I think. It's just something about it, about this particular loco, I think, that sort of sets it apart from the others. But yeah, overall, a very, very nice loco. As I've already mentioned several times, I think. Yeah, definitely glad to have it. Definitely not the easiest, I think, to get a hold of, though. They do seem to be a little bit scarce, these particular ones, but they do come up every now and then. So if you do want this particular one, I certainly would recommend it. It's a very nice model. It's just keeping your eye out for them, I suppose, is the main thing. But yeah, overall, very, very good. So I hope you all enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed seeing some of the locos that are in the fleet. If you do want to see any more Meet the Fleet style videos from me, then do let me know down below in the comments, and I'll look at doing some more. But in the meantime, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.